Hi, this is Russ. Welcome to Old Fogey Yoga. Today I want to show you how I use isometric exercises during my aerobic workouts. And one good reason to use isometric exercise as opposed to standard exercise is that oftentimes you can avoid injury or avoid exacerbating injuries with isometric exercise. So I had to stop using dumbbells for the most part, probably more than a decade ago. They were just, causing too much pain. Carrying big dumbbells around the gym was putting a lot of pressure, downward pressure on my knees and spine, which I'm, trying to protect. I had to stop using dumbbells, and I still used lighter dumbbells. If I was working biceps, I might just do reps like this with maybe 20-pound or 25-pound dumbbells for 60 seconds. And that would be a single set. So, I kind of started moving down to lower, smaller dumbbells. Eventually I was using 12-pound dumbbells while doing my aerobic workouts, but just holding those dumbbells was just putting a lot of strain on my neck, just because that downward weight, it has to go somewhere. It has to be supported by something, and all these muscles connect to your neck. So even this 12-pound dumbbells were just too heavy for me to hold for 20 minutes while I do my workout. So I changed from using the dumbbells to using isometric exercise. And that's a big Old Fogey Yoga philosophy, is that you don't give up on your fitness, you don't give up on exercise. If something doesn't work or if it's hurting you, you can try to find another way. And there's almost always multiple ways to work any body part or do any exercise. So if you're finding that you have challenges getting some things done, look for alternatives. More than likely there's an alternative out there. So if you want to, let's say, work your bicep, normally you would hold a weight of some kind or a resistance band, and you would have movement in your elbow joint. Your bicep muscle is going to extend and then contract, and you're going to do repetitions of that. With isometric exercise, you basically just hold a static position. Yoga is basically a lot of isometric exercise. And I've always found that it was one of the reasons that I enjoyed yoga and found it kind of challenging, is that sometimes it is tough to get into a position and hold that position, and you're forcing your muscles to hold yourself in that position, and all of that is exercise for you. So I'm going to show you how I use some isometric exercises while I do my aerobic workouts, so that I can kind of get a double whammy there. I'm doing my aerobic workout, plus I'm going to work biceps, triceps, chest, and shoulders. So when I do my aerobic workouts, my machine that I use isn't super effective for aerobic exercise. So what I do is, rather than sort of stepping on it like most people would, I want to bring my butt down low so that my torso is kind of staying in the same position and just my legs are moving. And if you look now, you can see that my quads are flexing through this entire exercise. So as long as I do this 20-minute workout in this position, I'm going to be getting a pretty incredible quad exercise. Also, I want to make sure that I keep my shoulders centered above my hips, my back straight, and with all of that, I also want to try to engage my core. So to add in my isometric bicep exercise, I just flex my biceps like this. After doing this for 60 seconds, I will change to triceps. And then for chest or pectoral muscles, if you don't know how to flex those, you can try just pushing your fingertips into your thighs, and that will cause you to flex your pectoral muscles. I also like to sometimes push my palms into each other. This is kind of a good one to use because it does allow you to kind of target whether you're focusing the exercise on your lower pectoral muscles, your middle pectoral muscles, or your upper pectoral muscles. And then I do a shoulder exercise. And because my exercise machine has these bars on it, I can just reach out and pull them basically apart, try to pull them apart. And that is going to give me a shoulder exercise. If you don't have bars such as this, you could use a bar or towel to get the same effect. Another big old fogey yoga philosophy is that you should always be trying to do multiple things at any one time. So I talked about how I'm basically doing an aerobic exercise, adding in isometric exercise, but I can also go beyond that to further add on things that I can do when I'm doing my bicep isometric exercise. I can also try to focus on flexing my pectoral muscles at the same time. Again, if I'm working my pectoral muscles, I can also try to flex my biceps at the same time. With triceps, again, you can get a pectoral muscle stretch in there as well. And also when you're doing your shoulder exercise. Now with all of that, I like to try to do stretches at the same time if I can. So I'm going to show you what I actually do, how I actually do my aerobic exercise. So another really important old fogey yoga philosophy is that if you lack the time that you need to maintain your body and keep up with your fitness, you may have to start doing some exercises and stretching in public in places where maybe you probably wouldn't want to have to do them. But I encourage people to do that because, like I say, it's better to keep up with your fitness, to maintain your body the way it needs, rather than to let things decline. So if you get to a point with your pain level or maybe just your lack of fitness, you're going to do whatever you can do, and you're going to do it in public if you have to. I've done, push-ups and sit-ups in airports. I've done them on the plane sometimes, push-ups anyway. The great old fogey yoga philosophy is to do multiple things at once. I'm already doing my aerobic exercise while I throw in isometric exercise. On top of that, if I twist while engaging my abdominal muscles, I can get a nice stretch throughout the low back and hips. So if you have low back pain, this may really help you a lot to do this. So I do this for 60 seconds. I'll then change to my tricep exercise, and I will include a head twist to start to loosen up the stiff muscles in my neck and to start to work loose the stiff vertebra throughout my neck. So these stretches will begin to help to do that. Then when I do pectoral muscles, I go back to the twist. And when I do the shoulder exercise, I include a head tilt. So again, this head tilt helps me to put a stretch in these muscles in my neck and start to work all of that loose so that I have a bit of mobility in my neck, and it's reducing the pain in my neck as well. That's how I do my aerobic exercise. That's all of it together. Hopefully isometric exercises can help you if you don't have a gym where you work out, or you're lacking equipment, or if you have injuries that you need to avoid exacerbating.